to the Racing Matters podcast with Ron Robinson and Sean Travaglia.
Good afternoon, Sean.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm better. It's not raining. I haven't got soaked. Yeah. Are you okay?
It's raining a little bit this morning. I think it's stopped now.
Really?
Grey skies. It's February. What do we expect?
Well, what do you expect, yeah?
Can't be helped. But it's not like that in Hong Kong. Look at the link I did there. We're talking about a certain horse by the name of, a strange name admittedly, Ka Ying Rising, that you
Ka Ying Rising, yeah,
probably have all read about, as he broke the record held by Silent Witness, I'll make sure I get my facts right, by winning his 18th race in a row.
Something else, that, isn't it?
That takes some doing, full stop. He's doing it in Group 1s, basically. The odd Group 2 thrown in there, but basically Group 1s. He's a 5 furlong sprinter, 6 furlong sprinter, stepped up to 7 furlongs, won the race last year, stepped up to 7 furlongs again, and smashed the course record without really breaking sweat.
Yeah.
Absolutely ludicrous. £94,000 he won for that. Just saying.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Because we are talking about, are we going to come on to prize money and stuff?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, again.
On.
Yeah.
He's now won over £13 million in his career.
Bonkers, isn't it?
And the bad news about that was, I always say Mr. Glass half empty. I'm not really. As a gelding, he's got no stallion potential.
No, so they might as well keep racing him.
And that's also why he won't come to the UK. I mean, I know for a fact that we've been chatting, not we as in me, but British Racing have been chatting to try and get him to come over for Ascot. Why would he bother? What's the point? I mean, he can earn more money over there. He hasn't got to go through quarantine. He hasn't got to go through the risk that he doesn't travel that well and it becomes a disaster. You can understand, because we are still the pinnacle of world racing somehow, but we are. You could understand if he was an entire that they think, well, a Royal Ascot win on this CV, that would help with his stud value, wouldn't it? So we might give it a go, even though the prize money is comparatively derisory. But he doesn't have that. The only thing they're worried about in Hong Kong, off the record, so to speak, is that when they have their next big sprints, like the internationals in December that I always go to, who's going to go and take him on?
Well, yeah.
This is the question mark. I mean, luckily their prize money is big enough that we will get horses going to take him on purely to try and pick up 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th places.
Well, eventually he will lose a race, so
yeah.
It's inevitable.
It's still worth going, but he is frightening off the opposition outside the opposition. Surely it's only a matter of time in our lifetime, maybe not, that they do some kind of Formula One style international circuit where they bring in Formula One style sponsors, for want of a better phrase, likes of Longines sponsor over there, give them a shout at that. The likes of Longines, I know Omega, Rolex, all these multi-zillion pound companies sponsor some kind of series, and then we would have a similar prize money over here, albeit maybe only once a season, and then might be to attract the world's best. And that's what I'd love to see.
It'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah.
How good is he is the question mark. And what you'll get from people who don't follow Hong Kong racing is, well, he's only beating local horses, isn't he? Really, Hong Kong racing's not all that. Well, it is. Trust me, it is. It is all that, beating them head in his chest 9 times out of 10. So he is that good, but the Brits won't believe that unless he comes over here and we've got a decent sprinter and he puts him in his place.
Yeah, we've seen over the years with the Aussies sending a sprinter to Royal Ascot, we're miles behind.
Yeah, we will. New top-class sprinter will appear over here.
Yeah, of course it will, yeah.
This year, next year, year after, it will happen. It would, from a racing fan's point of view, and I'm not just a punter by any stretch, from a racing fan's point of view, wouldn't it be lovely to see all these top horses over, say, 6 furlongs, then a mile, then a mile and a quarter, maybe, taking each other on a circuit around the world for big prize money? Who really is the best?
Like a Super League.
Yeah, it would be nice to see, but I can dream. I'm allowed to dream.
You are.
Moving on, unless you've got anything to add on Ka Ying Rising, I'd rather...
No, that's absolutely spot on, that. Yeah, happy with that.
Fighting 5th hurdle.
Yeah.
I'll let you lead that one because I'm doing all the talking.
Well, BetMGM, they've failed to renew their sponsorship, and have they given a reason for it?
Cost cutting.
Right. So cost cutting then.
Yeah.
That's got to be then down to the fact that they're paying more with tax.
Allegedly. Well,
allegedly.
allegedly that's the reason. Not allegedly are they paying more in tax, but
Mhm.
allegedly that's the reason. Sorry, carry on.
That's the reason. Yeah. So, I mean, it all ties in, doesn't it? If they're saying it's cost cutting, it must be because somebody's taking more off them than they're happy about.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
there's a 50-50 argument. Is it that way? Is it that way? As in, racing expected the bookmakers to go after us because we didn't side with them. We went it alone with the Axe the Tax campaign to hold the tax back on horse racing, which firstly we had every right to do, and secondly I still think was the right thing to do. So what happened is we escaped the tax cuts, and casinos and slots got hit. Basically, bookmakers were never happy about that, and racing was expecting some kind of knock-on effect, partly because they might need to, because heaven forbid that their shareholders lose a couple of pence out of the billions of pounds they take,
Heaven forbid, yeah.
but also as to racing, really.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get you one way or the other, don't you worry. Attitude. I don't suppose they would admit that, but we all know that's part of it. How we attract big money sponsorships when half the bookmakers won't take a bet anyway, so their turnover's going down, is beyond me. But we'll have to live with it. Racing needs to take a step back and realise that the percentage of races sponsored by bookmakers is ludicrously high.
It is.
And start looking for alternatives. I've got more to come on that later on. So,
Yeah.
because I don't want to rant and rave through the entire 2 3/4 hours. No, I'm joking. However long it takes us to do the podcast. So we go back to a little bit better now. What did you make? Well, two things on Constitution Hill. What did you make of his run, and what do you make of the news afterwards?
Well, he was pretty stunning on the flat, wasn't he? And my first thought was, what a waste he was over hurdles.
Mm.
You know, and I was reading about race times and furlong sectionals and all the rest of it, and no horse in the history of Southwell all-weather racecourse has run between the 3 and the 2 pole quicker than Constitution Hill did the other day.
Now, I didn't know that, but that's pretty impressive.
It is very impressive because that was off the bend, and he just picked up and shot past them.
Yep.
And no horse has ever completed that furlong quicker than he did it. And he's a 9-year-old. And you just think to yourself, it's like Buckley said, they could have gone globe-trotting with this horse if they'd not gone over hurdles. He could have won big races everywhere. The Ascot Gold Cup, the lot. Although, in fairness, Henderson said he will never be a summer flat racehorse.
No.
The ground would be too quick for him.
Yep.
So I think I read somewhere he's 25-1 for the Melbourne Cup. Yeah, 25-1. I don't know. For me, it's very disappointing because the way I look at it is, and I understand the reasoning for them not going over hurdles, but besides the fact I had 12-1 for them to win the champion hurdle, right, and that voucher's been binned, the way I look at it is, if he'd been a Class 5 handicapped steeplechaser who'd fallen 3 or 4 times on the trot, and they were putting this horse back over fences again in the hope that he'd complete, win, place, whatever, nobody would have batted an eyelid about that horse going back over a fence. Nobody would have said anything because that's the job the horse was bred to do.
Yep.
And it's the job Constitution Hill was bred to do. He's bred to jump a hurdle. He's proved himself to be the best ever because he had an official mark higher than Night Nurses, so he is the best ever officially. I read something on Facebook, somebody posted up, but what if he runs and falls and hurts himself? My first thought was, if you had that thought for every single national hunt race every single day, it's the end of national hunt racing because you would never put a horse over a fence, over a hurdle. You'd even think twice about running him in a bumper because what if it trips up over the 2 miles? You can't think like that. If you are a devotee of the sport, and national hunt is what brought me into the sport,
Yeah.
then I say it is what it is. When a horse gets injured, it's terrible, it's unfortunate, but it happens. Just like a motor racing car driver can hit a wall, gone. These things happen. There are enough steps taken to make sure they don't happen, but they still will always happen. So for me, the fact that he's going on the flat is disappointing because you'll probably see him once or twice a year if you're lucky. And he's 9 years old now, so what's he got? 2 years left tops
Max.
on the flat. You know, it's just totally disappointing. Yeah, I'd have much preferred to seen him running over hurdles again in any type of race, let alone the champion hurdle, than on the all weather at Southwell. As big a draw as he was, because he was a big draw, and yeah, it's like you've said, the horses are the stars,
Yeah.
and they went to see the horse.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't there, but the 6-4 with hindsight was a giveaway.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
The crowd there was, I suspect, the biggest they've ever had for an all-weather meeting.
I would imagine.
I haven't found evidence to prove that. The roar of the crowd when you hit the front was more like being at the Japan Cup than being at an all-weather.
It was. I heard it.
I thought that was,
Yeah.
I have to say, that made me smile. It's making me smile now. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And if you want to get bums on seats, I mean, I love being proved right. It's a very rare occurrence. But last week I said, the horses are the stars, and if you want the evidence, there it is.
It is.
Constitution Hill turns up, the crowd go mad. It's a real nice story. I wonder if he'd have got beaten, whether he'd have gone to the champion hurdle, daft as that may sound, because if they'd have realised they didn't have a machine on the flat after all, maybe they'd have had to go back to hurdles.
I think they would have done, yeah. What I read before Southwell was that his hurdling at home, his schooling, was amazing.
Yeah.
And even Henderson's come out and said that himself. His schooling was brilliant, but they just can't. They just don't want to risk him. They just don't want to. I imagine if something did happen, the uproar would be unbelievable.
Yeah, it would be on that. And that
so,
must have been on their minds, because
100%. Yeah.
He proved he's the sort of racing public's darling, or one of the racing public's darlings, if you like.
Yeah.
It would be, as you say, I mean, with your Class 5 chaser example earlier, I'm not saying this just negative. Where else can he go if he's a Class 5 chaser? He couldn't have a career in top races on the flat.
No. My point in case was that he'd fallen 3 or 4 times on the trot.
Yeah.
Why would you put him back over a fence? I spotted one the other day that had run in its last 6 form figures were PFU 20F. And that horse was running again.
Yeah.
He'd fallen twice, unseated once, pulled up once, hadn't placed.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but what happened at Southwell on Friday night was it showed the connections that they have alternatives. They don't have to go back over hurdles with him. There are other races worth just as much money, if not more, that he can go for, and he has got the ability to do that. So it might have been a bit of a Pandora's box in that it opened up. I wondered if before that race the Melbourne Cup had ever been discussed. Possibly not.
We're not. No.
And then after that, suddenly we're talking Melbourne Cup, they're talking Sandown. I think it's the Henry VII Stakes, something like that they're talking about. Again, I don't think Ascot Gold Cup. I think it'll be way too fast at Ascot.
He won't go for that. The ground will be much too quick for him.
They won't risk damaging him. But I think it opened up a list of alternatives for him, as well as to add to the weight, that balancing act, hurdles, non-hurdles, hurdles, non-hurdles. You've sort of gone that way with, well, 1, he's good on the flat. 2, there's all sorts of opportunities. 3, look how popular he is. What if something does happen to him in the champion hurdle? We would never be forgiven by the entire racing world. Attitude. Is it a sad thing you won't be there at the champion hurdle? Yes, and I can't say it looks like much of a champion hurdle at the moment.
Without him, it's rubbish.
Yeah.
Well, I say rubbish by comparison,
So without a horse, with no insult to Constitution Hill, without a horse who can't even stand up, it now looks rubbish over hurdles. So it was by definition a pretty poor field before.
Yeah.
Barring him staying on his feet. So it's not going to be the best champion hurdle, but someone's going to win it. That's the thing.
Will do, well, yeah. And they will be the champion hurdler.
Yeah, exactly. We'll go back to that. Anyway, as long as he enjoys himself.
As long as he enjoys himself.
And I do think it's going to be interesting to see 2 things, really. Firstly, does he stay with Nicky, or will he be moved to a flat racing train? I know Nicky's had plenty of success on the flat, don't get me wrong.
He has.
But would he be moved, maybe moved to an Aidan O'Brien or something for an attack on the Melbourne Cup?
I can't see Michael Buckley taking him away.
Neither can I, but I've seen it discussed.
The thought is there.
And who's going to help Nicky to campaign? And that does sound insulting, and I don't mean that at all. But he's going to need to set out a really good campaign over on the flat now that sees him get into the Melbourne Cup without getting into the Melbourne Cup off a ridiculous weight. That's the thing. You're not going to want to go and win his next three. Not necessarily going to want to go win 3 big races and see him lumbered with 12 stone in the Melbourne Cup. They want to make sure he gets in off a reasonable, off a racing weight at the very least.
I'm just thinking about when will he run, because we're now approaching the flat racing season. We're only a month away from the Lincoln.
Yeah.
And the ground's going to start getting quicker. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Because I don't want heavy ground at Beverley, thank you very much. And so if he's not going to be campaigned on summer ground, how are they going to get him qualified for the Melbourne Cup?
Exactly, that's going to be the fun part. Because I don't. Nicky's got all the resources.
He has.
He's highly intelligent. He's a lovely bloke. I've got all the time in the world for him. I really have. However, you would think this is a new thing for him, because he's never had to campaign a horse with the end result being the Melbourne Cup. I can remember. If anyone wants to correct me, feel free in the comments or whatever. But this is going to be a new thing, and it's going to be interesting to see how him and the team and whoever else he enlists to help him get him into the race, assuming that remains the target. If I remember right, the Melbourne Cup was on ground with plenty of cut in it last year. And
It was, yeah.
I think it was the year before as well. So it's not unknown for there to be plenty of give in the surface. You know, we always think Australia, wow, it must be like a rock. Hasn't been in recent years. So that would be a sensible target, not only for the value and the kudos, but also because he's likely to get his ground.
Yeah.
But,
I'm going to have to look at what the qualification is for that race, because I'm not 100% sure. But he must have to win races of a certain level on the flat to get in there.
He must have a rating above, you would imagine.
Yeah.
And even that's guesswork, because I wasn't at the lunch this year, but at the handicappers' lunch is a case where we reckon you need a rating of 140 to get into this race at Cheltenham. Solely depends on who else comes in, because if there's a load of races rate 155 coming above you, then even 140 wouldn't get you in. It might have done in previous.
Exactly, yeah.
But no guarantee it gets you in this year. But it's going to be a fascinating campaign, and I should be watching it with great interest.
Yeah. I think everybody will be now, won't they?
You would think so. It's good for racing. It's good for racing. It might not be good for, perhaps it's not good for national hunt racing. That would be fair.
Not good for my 12 to 1.
Not good for your 12 to 1. But for racing to have uncovered a 9-year-old star that attracted either national hunt racing fans to an all-weather meeting on a Friday night at Southwell, which is unheard of, or attracted flat racing fans to see a hurdler in action. One or both. It crossed the bridges. It crossed the Rubicon. They wanted to come and see this horse. And
they did.
I really hope racing wakes up and realises that it's the horses, not all of them, obviously, it's the horses that people want to go and see. Move away from the horses and onto jockeys next.
Yeah.
And I'm heading off back to Hong Kong verbally at the very
Hong Kong, yeah.
The Magic Man is back.
Yeah.
Joe Moreira, Brazilian jockey, legend over there, absolute living legend. Used to back him as if everything he was on could win regardless. He retired due to injuries with his hip, and he's had that treated in Brazil in all sorts of strange ways that I read about that I don't realise some of them that I don't really understand. And then he took up riding again. He went back to Japan and rode over there. He's ridden in Brazil. He's ridden in Australia. And now he's got a retainer with Casper Founds to come back to Hong Kong. Starting on, I believe it's April the 8th, I think. We think his first race meeting will be April the 8th, and he's going to ride through to the end of the season over there.
Yeah. How old is he now?
40s. Exactly.
Oh, is that all?
Exactly.
Oh, he's got years left.
Exactly, I couldn't tell you. 40s. But he might have a Nigerian passport. No, I'm not joking there. That's a reference back to footballers who used to be of questionable age in the dim and distant past.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be going back into battle with that champion jockey, Zach Purton, who's the man.
Zach Purton.
The man of the moment over there. Casper Founds is looking to win the Trainers' Championship. The man is a genius in the saddle, I will tell you.
Yeah.
When I was in, name dropping again, when I was in Abu Dhabi, that was won by a Japanese horse called Strauss, the big race. And found out after the race, sadly not before I wrote my preview, that the Moreira had ridden the horse and said, "This is where you send him next, and if you do, I'll go."
All right.
If you do, go over and ride him. And they just not did what they were told. That's an unfair thing to say. His expertise from the saddle is too much to ignore. So okay, then we'll go for the race. And on the form book, I don't think he had any chance at all. But
he didn't. No.
Weaved his way through and won it with plenty in hand. So.
But I'll tell you what. I think I sent you a message before the race, or you sent me one. There was one monster gamble on the horse.
Yeah, 8s to 3s or something like that, I think, yeah.
8 into 3, yeah.
Yeah, so somebody knew something.
They did. Because they were talking about the horse being a bit of a nutcase, weren't they?
He is a bit of a nutcase. When he went out on the track, they kept him back from all the other horses. I wouldn't let him have someone else on the phone. I'm just too popular. Sorry. If I knew how to turn this thing off, I would have.
I thought you got a train going by.
Well, yeah, we have those here as well. I've got it on.
You do? Yeah.
I don't understand technology. I've got it on 0 volume and it's still going off, but never mind. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be good for Hong Kong racing. I think it'll bring, well, they don't need the crowds brought back, but I think it'll increase the crowds fractionally to get people in. Everyone loves Joe Moreira. He's always got a smile on his face. And the one thing I moan about over here, and this is not picking on any individuals, their jockeys are brought up to talk to all the journalists. So when you run into him on the track, Joe will stop and have a chat, and it's not a problem. Will he give you any secret information? Of course he won't. That'd be ridiculous. Why would you expect him to? But will he come and have a chat and discuss his horses and how it's working and stuff like that? Yeah, happy to do so. Exactly the same. I wish ours were quite like that. Right, and lastly, I'll let you start this one because I've been talking all day.
Yeah, well, it's like you've alluded to earlier on, because BetMGM now have said, no, thanks very much. Then we need to start looking outside the bookmaker box for sponsors of races in this country. Now, when I first saw this topic, I'm thinking to myself, well, it's not got the same sort of appeal as it has in Hong Kong. No, because like you've said, people love the horses, they love going racing, but in this country now, it's getting bad press on a regular basis, which again takes us back to Constitution Hill. Keep him on the flat, don't let anything happen to him. And it's going to be the same when you're now trying to attract big business to sponsor horse racing. Some of them will say, yeah, no problem, we're in there. And some of them are going to say, want absolutely nothing to do with it. I think you've got to be looking at the boardrooms of these businesses and seeing who owns horses, because there are some people in those big businesses that love their horse racing.
Yep.
They'll be at Royal Ascot every year. They're the ones hiring the boxers and paying £2,000 for a bottle of champagne. They're the type of people and businesses we need now sponsoring horse racing. I'd love to be sponsoring horse racing again. We've done it before, you know. We did it at Newcastle and Uttoxeter. I've got a Cartier pen from JP McManus, who won our race at Uttoxeter. And about 2 months later, I get a knock on the door. It's the postman, and he says, parcel for you, sign there. Signed it, opened it up. Cartier pen from JP McManus with a lovely letter saying, my horse won your race. Thank you very much indeed for sponsoring that. And I'm thinking, how good is that guy?
Yeah, that is an amazing story, I have to say.
I tell you, it's unbelievable. I've never used the pen. It's still in the packaging it came in with the letter. I'll hand that down to whoever comes next. You know, unbelievable, that bloke. He really is. I don't know, to be honest with you, who is going to sponsor horse racing these days, other than the people that make money from it.
I think I hadn't thought of your idea of looking at who in the boardroom is interested.
Owns horses.
That's a very good idea. And what I've written down is I think we become overly reliant on bookmakers, and we need to A, look elsewhere with more enthusiasm, and B, make sure we offer them good value for money. Now, I was looking at a standard all-weather meeting on the day of this, which I accept is a bad example. I did economics at college about 200 years ago, or it feels like.
Yeah.
And we were told something along the lines of the 1% rule. But whatever you have, 1% will read it. And those that read it, 1% will make a purchase. Now, that varies from different industries and who you put it in front of, etc. But as a rough figure. So if you've got a crowd of 1,000 at an all-weather meeting, 1% means 10 people bothered to actually take note of what the sponsorship's name was, and 0.1 of a person actually buys something.
Yeah.
Let's exaggerate it and call it one person then.
One person.
Well, if you're selling anything less than a car, you're not making enough money from your one person to actually cover the sponsorship. Now, I know you can write it off against tax. It's about marketing. It's about putting your name there, etc., etc. That's an unrealistic return for your marketing buck. Now, I looked at Kempton on Wednesday, 6 of the 7 races sponsored by Unibet. Then I looked at Kempton's social media. Nothing on their Facebook page promoting Unibet. Nothing on their Twitter page promoting Unibet. Now, maybe they did it on Instagram. I think Instagram I checked as well. I don't use all the others, TikToks and all the other things that are out there. But is it unrealistic of me, if I've sponsored a race at Kempton, to think they should be pushing me as a sponsor? I don't think it is. I think they should be doing more. Now, I then looked at the Bangor card. We had a mixed bag there, bookies and all sorts. Wrexham Lager were there, Alpha Aggregates were there. Nothing on Facebook, nothing on X, nothing on Instagram. They had stuff on there, not sponsor specific. Not even starting the little video with, we'd like to leave a massive thanks to. And they did name the Alpha Aggregates race. Is that enough? I don't think it is. If you're looking to attract sponsors, you've got to give them something for their money. Okay, they probably get a private box, most places do, and their name's in the race card. I mean, how many people who watch the racing channel could actually tell? You probably just watched the race just now in the background, I guess. Who sponsored it? Not a clue.
I tell you what also annoys me. They very rarely mention the name of the owner.
Yeah, that's fair.
Of the winner.
Yeah, that's fair enough. They can do that as well. They should insist that whichever racing channel is covering it, even if they have to do this in a negotiation of whatever kind, you've got to give the guy 1 minute on TV. The guy who's there representing post-racing is guaranteed 1 or 2 minutes before the race. Well, why did you sponsor this? Or here's our sponsor, Ron Robinson, or whatever it may be. I don't think it's not expensive for them to give them more for their money than they're getting at the moment. Nothing, in fact, because you nothing to put it on Facebook, nothing to put it on Twitter, stroke X, nothing to put it on Instagram. And I can't see why they can't be. They are mentioned sometimes on the racing channels, so that it's obviously not something they can't do. Do it more often, and then, okay, you might be attracting relatively small companies. But if you can attract a lot of relatively small companies, then they can start to almost fight each other to get there. Is it going to put private money up into the millions? No, of course it's not. But it may well comfortably replace it as the bookmakers walk away, and then put pressure under them as well, because they're probably walking away thinking, haha, they're going to come begging for us to come back. Well, let's find an alternative so we don't have to go begging. That's my tuppence worth for today. We move on to the horses.
Can I just tell you what annoyed me when we sponsored the races at Newmarket?
Yeah, of course you can.
The commentator of our races never once mentioned the name of the sponsor of the race he was commentating on,
which again cost nothing.
We had a race that was divided into two, and I had the pleasure of awarding 2 prizes to the people who'd prepared 2 horses, the best turned out for each race. We had a brilliant day out, and I was expecting the commentator as the stalls opened to say it's the 6 furlong post-racing doodah, doodah, doodah. Not a peep, not a word. So unless you're going to promote the people who are actually supporting the sport, you've got no chance.
Exactly. And those are all pretty much free of charge options, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's not a budget. Oh, yeah. It's not a budgetary thing. But you had the pleasure of handing over the best turned out. Yeah, in front of 50 people. Fantastic, very nice, but 50 people, no use from a business perspective whatsoever.
No.
So I genuinely think they could do an awful lot more at zero cost, and that they need to pull their fingers out of where we all know they shouldn't be sticking in the first place.
It's just an apathy. That's all it is. It's an apathy.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's going to come. Whatever happens today, just get on with it.
But that frustrates me because we're not in a position to afford apathy. I don't think we never have been and never should have.
We can't.
But we certainly aren't at the moment. At this moment in time, talk of changes in the boardroom and all sorts going on as usual.
Yeah, again.
I was expecting to be writing that as a last-minute update to the podcast. Oh, Lord Allen resigned. He hasn't. I might add that as me expecting to. I'm not saying he did, but that's the talk on the Racing Post is that he may well feel he needs to, but which is a nightmare.
You only bang your head against the wall for so long, don't you?
Yeah, you run out of paracetamol. They don't work after a while. I can tell you.
Exactly.
Tell you that personally for certain. Anyway, on to something which we hope will be more positive. Who knows till after the races have taken place. I think we've got 4 and a bit to cover. I'm not.
Let's call it a bit.
Yeah, I choose the races in advance. I try to chuck in 1 handicap and then the higher class races each and every Saturday. Each and every Saturday we do a podcast. I did exactly that early in the week so that we can all get writing and putting it all together and working it all out. And lo and behold, most weeks we end up with one where you look at it going, not quite a walkover, but it might as well be. But we'll come to that later. We've got some that aren't first. I'm going to start off with the 125 at Doncaster, and Ron is going to give us the winner. No pressure.
Yeah. We've only got 3 previous runnings of this race, so I'm unable to decipher it in a way I'd like to do. What I did notice was that it is an incredibly tight market. You've got 2 trading joint favourites at around about 4 to 1. depending on which tissue you're using, of course. The third favourite is 9-2, and the outsider is 7-1. I think if I was in an alternative universe, I'd be running around like the old crone shouting about the Ides of March.
Yeah.
Don't touch this race. It's even if it is the last day of February tomorrow. I can't even think about betting a race like this, I'll be honest with you. You've got 6 of those taking part. I've never tried the trip. The 2 that have are already 0 from 3 combined, and none of them have raced at Doncaster before. And as I was typing out the work earlier this afternoon, Limerick Lass came out, so we're down to 7 runners. Dream Shadow.
That's a shame.
2 from 4 on the ground as currently described, which is good to soft. I can see 5-1 available at the moment, and I'm going to suggest a 2080 on the lady called Dream Shadow, but personally I won't be betting a shekel. Dream Shadow 2080, see how it goes.
Yeah, I can't. It's a tough race to call. As you said, the step up to
It is.
it's the distance that's the issue. 3 miles plus, and most of these haven't tried. We had a 40-1 winner in 2021 and a 6-5 winner last year. So anything can happen. No trains won this more than once, so nothing to see here. So I had to use the form book. Nightmare. 4-1 the field. Stamina questions for most of these novices. Nothing would surprise me. I've written down. That's always a good start, isn't it? Kulana headed the market, as I wrote, after wins at Uttoxeter and Wincanton, but they were both on heavy ground, and it's supposed to be a bit quicker here. So there's no evidence that she's going to handle the quicker conditions. She might do, but we don't know that, do we? I've come down on the side, narrowly on the side of Broomfield Adera, because I like ones I can hardly pronounce. Representing Dan Skelton. Winner at Lingfield in November, close up third at Aintree on Boxing Day. The thing I like her actually is a half sister to 135 Not Out, who won a 3.25 mile chase at Newton Abbot for Paul Nicholls last year. Now, that implies that the step up in trip may, underlined, underscored, neon lights, may bring the improvement necessary. She's currently trading around 7-1, 8-1 if you shop around. Ron says 2080, I'll just go each way because I'm old fashioned like that. Yeah, Broomfield Adera, each way for me, round about the 8-1 mark to small stakes. I've got to add that. That's only thing.
Yeah. I tell you what, it looks like it'll be a good race to watch.
It does. I mean, something's going to storm in clear and win that by about 20 lengths and make us all look stupid, because that's what racing does. But as it stands, it looks highly competitive, and there's certainly more questions than answers as far as I'm concerned.
Are you not worried about the Skelton form at the moment? He had I think he had 3 or 4 run home second. He's sending out lots of horses. Yeah. One of them was turned over at 1-6. After it opened up 2-7 on the track, it was back like it could not get beat. Got hammered. I'm watching that stable now with the we've got Cheltenham just round the corner now, and might be worth laying a few of his. We'll see.
If mine was 1-6, I wouldn't be tipping it each way, but it's not. So I'm open.
No.
Well, I might do, knowing me. You never know. But I mean, I think he's got a chance. He's had a few that have let him down, but he's running so many that you'd expect that anyway. You're right, keeping up.
He's throwing the kitchen sink at it.
So odds-on shots trained by Dan Skelton are a bit of a worry, are they?
I would say so. I would say odds-on shot trained by anybody.
Okay, well, let's go straight to the 140 at Kelso then. Over to you.
It's a Dan Skelton odds-on shot. Well, when I looked at this race, I thought, okay, let's take a peek at the betting. 1-8 Protectorate. I think he's something like 24, 23, 22 pounds well in with the rest of the field. There's only 4 going to post. And I thought, well, there's not much point in having a look at this race, really. I know it wasn't down to 4 runners and a 1-8 shot when you put the thing together. Should we just say Protectorate wins?
I think we say we watched the race, to be honest with you. I wouldn't even go, well...
Take nothing for granted after yesterday.
After what you just said with a 1-6 shot getting beaten, he's 11 years old.
Yeah.
Enough to assume he's not going to improve any. He doesn't need to improve any. There are fences in the way here, Ron. I'm not backing an 8-1 on shot. Even in a 28 horse accumulator, I'd leave him out and lose a percentage. He should win. There's no reason he won't win. But 8-1 on, no, it's a race to watch. And like I said last week, and Ron said to me earlier as well, we'll claim it as a winner if he wins, and we'll pretend we didn't mention it if he doesn't. But no, we're not like that. We're far too honest for that. Yeah, he should win. He should win. I couldn't find any. I looked and looked and looked. I could find no reason why to lose him. The stable won the race with Grey Dawning last year, so they know He's 11 years old, so it's what you see is what you get. It's not going to be anything improves. He won't be improved. I don't think anything improves past him. But we just move swiftly on because it's just not a race where you can bet on. Simple as that.
Now the next one, this 2:15 at Kelso, is an absolute crackerjack of a race. I did see that Ollie Murphy's pulled out the blue room, but we've still got 10 going to post. And all of them are still open to improvements. It's a cracking race. 13 of the last 18 winners have been aged 5 or 6. So that's where I'll start looking for my winner. That rules out one runner, Lord Byron. And even he was winking at me. I know he's got no form. He's only got 2 runs to his name. The weights would also rule him out too. The fact is, and he doesn't arrive with a number 1 or 2 next to his name from his last run. The stats say that you'd have found 13 of the 18 winners by also applying that rule. 1 or runner-up last time out. So that means I've got 6 of them standing their ground when you take the form figures into account, but it's the market we'll trust here. 7 of the last 10 winners were front 2 on the tissue when the tapes went up. Now we saw last week in the Dove Cut, the second favourite had a tremendous record in that race, and I put it up irrespective of what was going on. We did mention that the Henderson horse that you put up as an each way better 8-1, which came home second, was definitely going to be punted. Whether he would go off first or second favourite was moot. He went off favourite in the end, I think, and that let mine in. Second favourite won. I'm doing exactly the same thing here.
Right.
The winner is going to be either Starmount or Les Beaux Madric. That's a Skelton horse. They're front 2 on the tissue as I speak, and I've actually already placed the Dutch to make a profit on them. They're 3 to 100 to 30. It depends on which layer you're looking at as to which horse is favourite. Now, most of them have got Starmount 3 to 1 favourite, and most of them have got Les Beaux Madric around about 10 to 3, 100 to 30. But plenty of them have also got them joint favourites as well, so until the tapes are just about to go up, you'll not know one way or another which one's second favourite. You may even go off joint yet. Official ratings, I know it's one of those races, it's a cracker. Official ratings do suggest that Starmount is vastly superior. £9 the better horse, and also getting £3 off Les Beaux Madric. So the Skelton horse has got to improve nearly a stone to win it. But he might. He's only had 2 runs over hurdles, won them both. And it's going back to our handicapping topic earlier. Ground would have been, well, if we'd have discussed handicapping, well, we are going to be doing later, but if I did discussing handicapping, ground is where I always start when it comes to producing a figure for a horse. Les Beaux Madric is 1 from 1 on the ground they've got tomorrow. Starmount is 0 from 1. On those stats, second favourite stats, front 2 stats, Les Beaux Madric for me. Think he wins it all day.
I think it's a tricky one because the first thing with your going, and this is another long-running argument of mine, is that the going descriptions are relatively inaccurate, unfortunately. So that can create an issue.
It can. That's probably why I don't find the winner of every race.
Well, I don't find the winner of any race. Yeah. An interesting one to keep an eye on here. I'm quite surprised at the price, I have to say. Lucinda Russell won this last year with a 16 to 1 shot. She's back this year, now in partnership with Michael Schoonewall, with Cabello de Guerra, 50 to 1, 5-0, and the only course winner in the field, by the way. Now, yeah, he was up to a couple of furlongs after finishing 4th at Haydock, raced off £2 lower now. He could surprise everyone and sneak up to somewhere near 50 to 1. I would be surprised if he finishes last. Let's put it that way. More Mares is one to consider after he lost his unbeaten record when 4th at Newbury. But that's in the Challow Hurdle, so there's no disgrace in that. Lightly raced Lord Byron gets a mention from me as well, sporting first time cheap. Sadly for you, I'm going for Les Beaux Madric as well. Sorry about that. The maiden hurdle at Newcastle in November followed up at the same track with an easy success like last month. Like many of these, we have no idea just how good he is, I've written, you can tell, or could be. That's the thing. He looks to be very much on an upward curve, and to my embarrassment, at the time of writing, I wrote, and at 6 to 1 or thereabouts, he looks an each way call. Now, the only thing to take out of that is not that I'm an idiot for writing that, but he was 6 to 1 when I started writing that. He's now 7 to 2. So there has been money for him. Now, admittedly, as Ron said, there is one pulled out that might have adjusted it slightly. Would have adjusted him from 6s to 5s. It wouldn't have adjusted him down to 7 to 2. So there has been money for him. They or somebody fancies him. Unfortunately, I can't go each way now at 7-2. I could have done at 6s, but yeah, 7-2. Not the price I looked for, but he looks to be the most improving horse in the race. And sorry about that, Ron, to double up with you. It's going to be Le Beau Madric for me as well.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm
That's
happy
the
with
kiss
it.
of death, is what someone's really thinking. He's just too polite to say it.
Yeah.
Now, we got one for you next one, haven't we? Is that right? Yeah.
Let me just,
Go on,
yeah.
then. You can
Give me handicaps all
fill your
day.
boots.
Stuff horses like Protectorat. I'm not interested. 1 to 8. This is a lovely 13-runner handicap to get it stuck into. And this is basically what I'm seeing. Now, since 2008, it's been won by horses aged 6 on 1 occasion, aged 8 on 4 occasions, aged 9 on 6 occasions, and horses aged 10 and 11 have won it 6 times between them. I'm liking horses aged 8 or 9. And so my first shortlist has got King's Threshold, Destroy the Evidence, King Turgeon, New Order, Kelche, Some Scope, Broomfield's Cave, and The Form is Mighty. I always look at the weights next, and 13 of the last 17 runnings have gone to horses carrying less than 11 stone. So I'm quickly down to 3 names: Some Scope, Broomfield's Cave, and The Form is Mighty.
Excellent.
I'm always, as you know, happy dutching, and so that's where I'd go with that. But we need the name of one for podcast purposes, so I'll give the market positioning a once over and see what happens. The last 3 winners of this have returned 33 to 1, 20 to 1, and 18 to 1. We had a 25 to 1 winner in 2015 and an 18 to 1 winner in 2019. But more winners have been priced as a single figure SP, so the selection has got to be Some Scope. Runs first time following the wind up. He opened up 12 to 1 for this race and has been supported into 15 to 2. I think the horse has probably been laid out for this race, as has Maroda, who won this race last year and in 2023. But I reckon he's now ready for a rocking chair and slippers. If he wins, I lose. Simple as that. He's a 12-year-old now. Can't have him. I'm going to go with Some Scope, 2080.
Interesting, because you can blame Ron for the next minute of boredom, in that he's the one who's started me doing profiling, though not exactly the same way as he does it. No point in duplicating.
No.
Okay, I've looked at the last 15 years. Winners up to 33 to 1. 9 winners at a single figure price. Of those who completed on their previous start, of which there were 12 in total, 11 came home in the first 7. 14 of the 15 were aged 8 to 11 inclusive. All were rated 125 to 149. All had raced in the last 120 days. 14 had not raced in the last 15 days. All had raced at least twice this season. Blah, 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 blah. I get that down to 5 horses. That's what you wanted to hear at the end of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I get mine down from those. I get down to King's Threshold, Destroy the Evidence, King Turgeon, New Order, and Kelche. Of those 5, I then went looking at the trainers' records in the race. What did we find there? Emma Lavelle, yet to have a horse placed in the race, so reluctantly I lose King's Threshold. Maybe a mistake, but that's the logic. I've now got 4 left. Every trainer's had a place at least once of the 4 trainers left, with one exception, and that's Kim Bailey, who's now Kim Bailey and Matt Nichols. He's had 4 runners in this race in the last 24 runnings, and he's won with 2 of them. 2 of his 4 runners. The Last Samurai in 2016, Alcaced in 2024, and placed with 1 other as well. That's not bad. 2 wins and a place from 4 runners. That's pretty impressive. He knows the sort needed, that's for sure. That tips the balance in my view, and I'm going with Destroy the Evidence each way, currently sitting around about 12 to 1. He's hit a few places off his current mark. He hasn't won for a while, admittedly, but he's hit a few places off similar marks to where he is today. 12 to 1 shot each way. Get in there.
Yeah.
That's what I say. No, Ron clearly doesn't. I can see from Ron's smirk that he clearly doesn't agree with me. But there's nothing new there, ladies and gentlemen. And we have one more race to go, but don't switch off because we're going to attempt to demystify racing once more. 2:35 at Lingfield, one of your favourites on the all-weather.
Oh, I know, yeah. Well, it's what is it? It's a listed race, isn't it? They're all 3-year-olds. They're all carrying more or less the same weight. So the only thing I can ever do with these type of races is go and see what the market's telling me. Now, in the last 10 runnings, we've had 4 winning favourites, 1, 2, 3 winning second favourites. The favourite has not finished out of the first 3 in the last 9 runnings. And so straight away, I'm just drawn to the top of the market, the front 2 being Richie's Rocket and 10 Carat Harry. Now, one of those 2 for me, but which one? That is the $64,000 question. I'm looking like you've just done at what trainers have done in the past, stalls they've broken from, and I'm thinking you want to be with the lowest drawn of the 2. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So
See it? Yeah.
they're drawn 1, I think it's 1 and
Looks
6.
like it.
10 Carat Harry is drawn 1. All right, when was the last time he was beaten? Has he ever been beaten?
Yeah, he has, but not for a long time. 5 runs, 5 wins in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's never been beaten on the all-weather, has he? He's 6 out of 6 on the all-weather.
Right.
So because all the stats and the trends that I've got that I would work with point to 10 Carat Harry, and he's a previous course winner as well, I'm going to go with 10 Carat Harry.
I can't blame you for a moment. He's walking the walk, not just talking the talk. He's there and he's doing it. And
isn't he just?
I don't disagree. This went to Rebels Gamble for Carl Burt last season at 9-4. As you said, all 3-year-olds, so not a lot we can learn from that. The rated horse is Sir Albert from Andrew Balding's yard, so it'd be interesting to see whether he sees a lot of market support in the morning or not. If he does, we all know the Balding horses can sometimes improve for a first run of the season or a first run ever.
They generally do.
But sometimes he has. I don't say he doesn't have them tuned up. Sometimes they're able to get fit at home in advance. Keep an eye on the market for that. Ostrom comes over from Ireland after winning a Dundalk Maiden. But can't comfortably overlook anything that travels over for no reason. But I'm all over Richie's Rocket. He went into my notebook last year, and he's still sat there now, and it's his first run since. 3rd at a big price when looking at the experience would do the Son of New Bay the world of good. He was hammered in the market next time out, from evens down to 100 to 30 on.
Yeah.
He came home 9 lengths clear. He absolutely lived up to his name. Richie's Rocket, he's shot past them like they were standing still. Despite that, he looked as green as grass when he hit the front. And Ross O'Ryan was having to keep him up to his work to make sure that he carried on and battled through. So he was still being educated. Now, if he's fit for this, I think he could prove far too good for these. I think he's group class. If he takes the turf, of course, not too many group races on the all-weather. But he looked class, and I just can't desert him, simple as that. So Richie's Rocket.
Yeah, I can understand that. When I was trying to find a tissue price for I think there's only William Hill got it priced up at the moment. And he's clear.
Yeah, I didn't realise. Again, I always write these things not knowing if the price is there, it's there, and it's staring in my face, and I can't ignore it. If there's no price there, I prefer it when there isn't, because I've tipped 25 to 1 winners doing that, and I've tipped 4 to 1 on losers doing that as well.
Yeah. It's easily done.
You find the horse that you think is the likeliest to win the race. It's very easy to go through all that and then look at it and go, oh, he's 20 to 1. I must have missed something. I must be wrong. And then he goes and wins at 20 to 1. You throw your hands up in despair. So I'd far rather not see the price. Okay, he's 13 to 8 favourite, best I can see at the moment. If he'd have been 6 to 1, I'd have said exactly the same thing, because I wrote it up with no prices to go on. That's the end of our horses, other than something for the weekend, so which we'll end with. And I threw one of these in. I threw a banana skin, really, isn't it? Handicaps.
Well, I love handicapping racing. Whatever the official handicapper in the UK throws at me, I believe.
Yeah.
Now, I've probably mentioned in previous podcasts, or some of them anyway, that I was once having a cup of coffee with Paul Green when he was training horses down in Lydiate. And he had our horse, Rosie's Lady, there. And he rang up the official handicapper when his horse had been put up something like £8 for winning on heavy ground. And Paul tried to point out to the handicapper that he only won because he handled the ground better than the other horses in the race. Blah, 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 blah. Why have you put him up £8? And all the handicapper said to him was, all you got to do now then is wait for the same conditions again, isn't it? Well, those conditions were as rare as rocking horse doodah. And the horse would probably never run again for 12 months if he'd waited for those conditions. So he's had to run this horse when he knows it's wrong in the handicap. Now, for me, the first thing I do when I'm handicapping a race is look at I've mentioned earlier on in this podcast, I look at the ground. Now, what the official handicapper's doing is he's rating a race in this country based on what it's just done. In its very last run, that is what produces the handicap mark for that horse. So if a horse goes and wins like Paul Green's did by 2 or 3 lengths on heavy ground, he gets walloped. And the horses that are finishing in behind him probably get put up a pound or two as well, and they're wrong next time out because you're not going to get heavy ground right through the summer. And he was a flat race trainer, Paul Green. So you've asked me to compare it with Hong Kong models anyway. So I looked, what is the Hong Kong model? And to be honest with you, I'd need to take a week to have a good look through. I've actually got it up on the screen now. And the highest rated entry in the field, plus the first three reserves, shall be allocated £135, unless the weight range for the race is £14 or less, in which case the lowest weight entry in the field, plus the first three reserves, shall be allocated £120. Like I say, I want a week. I want a week to decipher all of that. Thanks very much. But that bears no relation to what we do here. You're going to have a race run at Southwell on the all-weather today that will give a horse a mark for the next time it runs on the all-weather at Southwell. What you also find in this game in this country is that not everything you see is 100% kosher. I'll put it no blunter than that. Because what happens is, if you're like, let's say Sir Mark Prescott's got a 2-year-old, and he knows it's a 12 furlong, even a 16 furlong horse, and he runs it 3 times over 5 furlongs on the Southwell all-weather, knowing the ground won't suit it, the trip won't suit it, and he's getting it ready for the 12 furlong 3-year-old handicap run at Haydock Park in the middle of May, when it will have all the conditions to suit it. Now, what you see is, the betting will tell you that those 3 races run on the Southwell all-weather, presumably he's picking Southwell. The horse will go off 100 to 1, 88 to 1, 2,574 to 1. Goes for that 12 furlong race at Haydock on the turf, 4 to 6 favourite it'll open up. That's how we handicap in this country. Simple as that. The trainers handicap the horses, not the handicapper. I've always believed that. So whenever I see an official handicap, I just bin it straight away and produce my own. Which is why yesterday, when I did 4 races, as bad as those races were, we had 3 top-rated winners and a non-runner. Now, the official handicapper didn't have them top-rated. They weren't carrying the most weight in the race. And they were handicaps, you know. And that you take handicapping with a big pinch of salt. Simple.
I can't deny anything you said there.
Thanks.
Yeah, the only thing I would question, Mark, is that you didn't give Sir Mark Prescott enough credit in that he doesn't plan.
I thought I had.
You only mentioned the fictitious race in Haydock that he planned over a mile and a half. You need to mention the one 4 days later where it wins under a penalty, and the win 4 days after that where it wins carrying a double penalty. Because that's where
he wins 3 races within 10 days.
Out a race plan. Sorry, Sir Mark, if you're listening, but that's how it was.
We know you're a genius, sir.
The handicapper can only see what he sees in front of him or she. The rating of the horse is assessed from the improvement or going backwards of one particular race. If you went in with a mark of 75, I'm making up fictitious numbers, it doesn't matter. If you went in with a mark of 75 and ran an absolute stinker and finished 60 lengths last, you wouldn't be reassessed at 32 because you finished that far behind. They go, you weren't. In fact, we'd probably ignore that one because it was completely out of context. If you ran slightly worse, you might go down a couple of pounds. A bit like golf, you seem to go down a lot slower in the handicap than you go up, or the other way around, whatever it is. You go up in the handicap very quickly if you win, but you only sneak down a pound at a time as a horse. Very difficult. That heavy ground example you gave, I understand where Paul was coming from. He's forgotten more than I know about racing. We all know that. But the handicapper can only look and go, look, you won by 3 lengths from a horse that was rated £5 superior to you, and yet because of the race conditions, you were level weights. I have to put up. How can I not? How can you be meeting the same horse that you beat 3 lengths in a handicap tomorrow off the same weights? Again, you can't. You've got to go up. It's an impossibility. The concept of a handicap, because we're aiming this at newcomers to the sport, that different horses have a different rating, and that in turn translates into a different weight that you carry in a race. If my horse is rated £10 better than Ron's horse in a race, my horse has to give it £10. It's more complicated than that, but that's the real basics of it in an average handicap. Obviously, horses can improve as they go up in distance or as they drop back down in distance. Like to front run for the first time, or they don't. They're wearing headgear, or they're not. The yard is in form, or it isn't. They get on well with a particular jockey, or they don't. There's all sorts of things, or they're just improving, or going backwards. It's not an exact science, but the concept is that every horse dead heats in a race. It doesn't happen. We all know that. But it's meant to give equal chances. That's why Ron loves his handicaps, because he does his own handicap. I think I've solved it now. That's why he loves them so much. I can't stand them because it's difficult enough trying to find the winner as it is without some other idiot deciding that one horse carries £12 more than another, but £4 less than the one down the road. That just spins my head every year. Not next month, the month after next, when they listen to this. Grand National time. Ring, ring goes the phone. All the people that don't talk to me all year, give me the winner of the Grand National, the world's most difficult to solve handicap. Well, thank you very much. Why don't you ask for a novice hurdle somewhere? You've got more chance of me finding the winner. On to Hong Kong. Again, it is complicated. I chucked it in as a subject and didn't realise what hole I was digging. In simplistic terms over there, the winner of any handicap will automatically go up a minimum of £5. Automatically. Whether you win by a short head or 25 lengths, you're going to go up a minimum of £5. Those who finish second to fifth go up a maximum of £5. And any horse that finishes sixth or worse is not put up in the weights at all. Now, that is very different to what we do, very confusing. At first glance, I find it hard to work out whether I think it's better or worse. It's a difficult one. But you can see with that, what you won't see is a horse. You'll see horses trying their best all the time. Because the prize money for first to fifth, is decent. So you're going to try and pick up that money. You're not going to be looking at, I'm going to finish sixth, but I might get put up a few pounds. I'll just loosen off the horse and see if I can finish nearer to another 10 lengths back, because then I won't get put up. Well, you're not going to get put up anyway if you finish sixth, so don't worry about it.
No.
Are they straighter over there than they are over here? How long's a piece of string? Who knows? Who knows is the truth of that.
Who knows is right.
It seems to work. It would save a few quid by getting rid of our handicappers. You just put the horses up and down depending on where they finished. No, it doesn't work that way because we're all on the international handicapping system. So Hong Kong has some very good handicappers that are out there to tally their horses, like Kai Ying Rising we spoke about earlier, where he sits in the world of horses, if you like. In simplistic term, a handicap is to try and make things a level playing field for everybody. It doesn't work that way, but hopefully you can all understand the concept. And if you want anything discussed under Racing Demystified, please, and I mean please, comment somewhere and we will have a look into it.
Leave any question you
like. Because it's Ron's go next time. I'm running out of ideas, so you can blame him with whatever we come up with.
Well, I'll put up something next week, yeah. Yeah, no problem at all.
Right, we're left with one more thing to do, and that is something for the weekend. So which one are you going for, Ron?
Well, I'm going for a little each-way double. Le Beau Madric and some scope. Wow. It's got to be an each-way double because you can't have a 20-80 each-way double. So each-way double, Le Beau Madric, some scope. I think they both should both hit the frame, minimum. I'm
very impressed, and I wish you all the very best of luck. I'm far lazier and far more cowardly than you are. I'm just going for a straight win on Richie's Rocket in the 310 at Lingfield. 13 to 8 now. I had no idea of the price when I wrote it. And most people listening to this will be the same as me. Once you've picked a horse, you can't change your mind. It's like it's sod's law that horse will win. Everyone will go, were you on that? And you go, no, I wasn't. So I'm not suffering that embarrassment. So I'll still stick to Richie's Rocket, 310 Lingfield. I think he could be a machine. We'll have to see on Saturday, won't we?
Fingers crossed.
Anything else to discuss? How's ratings all going well, as you mentioned earlier?
Top rated. I think it was up to last weekend. If you'd have had £1 on every single top-rated horse from February the 1st, you'd have been in profit by 72 quid.
It's
not bad. Not bad. I reckon this month, I haven't had a chance to look back at January. The reason I looked back at it was because I knew it was going well. I always try to compare every season to what we did in the flat season in 2013. We'll never have a season like that again. I think we were close to 400 points up at one point, which is ridiculous. And that was just betting the top-rated horse. That'll never happen again. It's unsustainable. But I'll tell you what, I'd settle for 70 points.
Yeah, I think anyone out there who wouldn't, I think we all would. Yeah.
I doubt it. If you're betting £1, you're £70 up. You're betting a tenner, you're 700 quid up. And that pays for 2 years subscription.
And I'm going to put him on the spot here now as well, because I like doing that. I don't expect you to have the details, because I didn't tell you this in advance, but your overnight market movers with flames on, etc., etc. I believe we had a couple of good winners there recently. Oh.
Well, the last 2 days have been crazy, ridiculously stupid. And we came within half a length of it being absolutely, totally, ridiculously bananas. We've had 3 winners. There was one I put. It actually went hot, what I describe as hot, which gets a flame on the newsletter. It went hot within 10 minutes of me spotting the move. I've forgotten the name of the darn thing now. It opened up 40 to 1, ended up winning at 8 to 1. And we had another one earlier in the day, Hillcrest, I think it was, or something like that. Opened up 50 to 1, backed into 8 to 1, beaten half a length. And then we had another winner later on in the day that was just absolutely another ridiculous one. And then yesterday, there was one, Edith Rock or something like that it was called.
Oh, yeah.
Opened up 18 to 1.
Yes.
Edith's Rock?
Yep.
Opened up 18 to 1. Won at 15 to 8 favourites. Now, obviously, you're not going to get the opening show, because to get the opening show, you've got to be sitting next door to the trainer and the connections who are getting the 40 to 1 and the 50 to 1 and what have you. But if you're getting 12 to 1 and 8 to 1, about a 15 to 8 favourite that wins, that's enough for me. That'll do me. Definitely keep an eye on the horses that I put a flame next to in the newsletters. They won't all win. They can't all win. It's like when I've just described how well the top-rated horse has been doing lately. You started off February with a 20 race losing run. The first 20 races, the top-rated all got beaten. But then it's the same with everything. I always describe betting as being a long-term profit type of thing. It's the same with taking out an endowment policy. You'll sign your name on a bit of paper that says you give an insurance company £10 a month, and in 50 years' time, they'll give you £80 a month pension. They might do, they might not, because there's always that little disclaimer at the bottom. Your investment can go up as well as down. It's all about having patience and sticking with it. If you haven't got what's the word I'm looking for? Temperament for being able to handle a losing run of 20, you don't use that system. You go Dutching, and I can teach anybody how to Dutch.
And what's website's this one? How do they get to the website? Is it all over the...
Yeah, I suppose I better name it. postracing.co.uk. It's well worth being involved in.
Please sign up, otherwise you won't pay me. No,
I hate blowing that trumpet. Never blown a trumpet in my life.
You would have noticed I have to nudge him a little bit to say anything.
I have to be potted and proked.
The thing is, we provide this for free. We hope you have a bit of fun listening to it. Disagreeing with some things we say, agreeing with others is my guess.
Yeah. If anybody wants to sponsor this, by the way, they can. £6 a month.
Excellent.
I'm happy.
I'll check my pockets. Hang on.
No, seriously, I've got an option on the subscription list of podcasts, £6 a month. If you're happy with what we're doing and you enjoy what we're doing and you think it's worth a cup of coffee a month,
if you're happy, you love it,
please.
Yeah. Right, let's leave them in peace now. We've waffled on for more than long enough.
All right. Yeah, I've got to go and get the wife in 10 minutes.
We'll name it the Grumpy Old Beggars podcast at this rate. Right. Okay, have a good weekend, everybody. I'm looking out the window. That's what it's like. I hope it's a bit sunnier where you are than where I am. We'll be back, I think it's 2 weeks, because I'm off to...
You're on holiday
I'm off
next
to
week.
sunny Spain, but if you actually look at the weather forecast, the weather's getting better here and it's chucking it with rain over there.
Yeah, it's just going to be Spain.
You'll be delighted to know I'll be drowned. As long as it doesn't mess up my hair, I'll be... Right. Have a good one, everybody, and we'll speak soon.
Yeah. Take care now. Bye-bye.